We are live, or at least I'm live. You're not, because I don't live stream. I might do that someday. As always, there's going to be a link down below in the description box to credit WWE for piecing this together. So let's get right into it. I really enjoyed myself again with Friday Night SmackDown. In the beginning, there was a quick recap that showed last week's SmackDown when, the show went off the air. It basically just showed Roman's reaction to the Fatal 4-Way announcement from Nick Aldis as a result of Roman Reigns interfering in the Triple Threat match from that week. So, that wasn't anything too overly exciting. I mean, it was just Roman just shaking his head, foaming at the mouth. Grayson Waller was accompanied by Austin Theory, and then Solo and Jimmy attacked Cameron Grimes. I wasn't sure it was Cameron Grimes because it happened so fast, but here it says Cameron Grimes, so that's what ended up happening. And then Heyman gets on the mic, calls Nick Aldis a wannabe James Bond, which is funny because I kind of thought the same thing. Nick Aldis says that AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy Orton are going to take on the Bloodline, including Roman Reigns, but because Roman Reigns wasn't present, they were going to have to find a third member, or it would be a handicap match, a 3-on-2. So, there you go. Then there was a quick vignette promo with Santos Escobar, and I thought it was great. I really like the character. I'm really digging it. How he talks and everything. He gets to be showcased in a different light, and I think he's just really, really doing well. It's still kind of bizarre for me, though, because when I think of Carlito, I think of Carlito being the Santos, if you know what I mean, from an attitude perspective, from a scripting perspective, of course. And then Jimmy Uso backstage was worried about finding that third, as Roman isn't around, and Solo saying, "I'm not worried." That's kind of how he talks a little bit. Santos comes out with Angel and Umberto. I always mispronunciate their names, for a tag match with LWO's Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. Yes. And basically, Santos joins commentary. Oh, I thought did he join commentary? Honestly, I don't even remember if he did. I think he did. Yes, he did. He did join. Yes, and he's good. Sorry. I was thinking of another match. And then Carlito from behind, that's right, ended up taking out Santos Escobar, and then Angel and Umberto won with a distraction by holding the ropes over the LWO. This was a great match. I thought that Angel and Umberto, something's been going on because they've been working out because they looked physically a lot more ripped, less soft. And, yeah, I mean, it was just great. Even Santos Escobar, I think, is getting a little bit more like ripped and stuff like that. But yeah, just overall, aside from all that, I just thought it was a really, really good match, and I really enjoyed it. It was as simple as that. It was fun. Then we have backstage Nick Aldis that was chatting with Carmelo Hayes, and Grayson and Theory interrupted. So that led with the whole back and forth saying, you know what? I'll take you on. And it ended up that it would be a match between Theory and Hayes as a result. Carmelo Hayes, I don't know much about. He's from NXT, but I really, really, really like him a lot. And then we quickly saw backstage Carlito and the LWO running into Heyman with an apple, which for me was funny. Just because he's all like, Heyman's all like, I'm trying not to tempt you, with Adam and Eve and the forbidden apple and all that. It literally has an apple and he's polishing it. He was hoping that Carlito would be on board. And Carlito's like, no. Then he walks away, turns around, grabs the apple. Thanks, by the way. I don't know. Just something simple like that to me that was funny. Now over here, and I've expressed my love and admiration for Logan Paul in wrestling. Like, he's so good. But sometimes, for whatever reason, the promos are kind of a hit and miss for me, personally. So this little promo here was a little bit lackluster, talking about KO and his cast on his hand. What he should have said was really simple. It's like, oh, that's fine. You got a broken hand, you got a cast. you know what, we're going to even things out. Otherwise, he threatens that he's not going to be at the match or it's going to be canceled. I'm thinking, you can have your cast, and I'm also going to have one. Fair is fair. Boom. Could have kept it simple, but didn't. Tyler Bate and Butch had a little vignette promo where they were kind of like at a pub. And again, I just really enjoy these like little mini movies or whatever you want to call them. I think they're like a vignette promo. I remember one of the first times I recalled seeing one where it would go on and on forever and they were at a restaurant sitting down was back when Razor Ramon was being introduced at the time. WWF in the very early 90s. And I remember getting annoyed only because I was excited to finally see him wrestle. But that's one of my earliest memories of remembering that, like, movie, like, because it's got the production, the lighting, you know what I mean? It just, I don't know, I just really enjoy them a great deal. So that was pretty cool. And it was basically just talking about Butch finding his identity, and Butch was like, you know what, this was a one-off. We joined forces. Tyler Bate was going on about the British strong style and all that. Then we had Bianca versus Bayley. And this was a great match. Like I said, Bayley can go. I give her a lot of flack for sucking on the mic. She just doesn't make a good heel. In my opinion, this is all this is. This is just my opinion. And of course, Bianca, as always, reminds me of like a Charlotte Flair. Just like a really amazing, well-rounded wrestler. Simple as that. And then backstage, there was a promo with KO that responded to Logan Paul's displeasure of Owens' cast and basically invited him next week on the Kevin Owens show. He's hoping to have, I almost said Paul Hogan. That's the dude from Crocodile Dundee. Anyways, we see how well my brain is working or not working. So yeah, it'll be nice to see that next week. Backstage, again with this, and I keep going on about this because to me it's a big deal. Backstage, Damage Control is still weird with Bebe. They speak Japanese with Dakota Kai. Apparently she understands it. I mean, it's possible. I speak multiple languages. Moi aussi, je suis capable de parler des différentes langues. Là. C'est pas juste l'anglais que je parle. But you know what I mean? You can't look at somebody and be like, oh yeah, this guy, there's no way he's... Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a moment. Yeah, so the whole thing with the confusion and it like Bayley's place, because it always feels like you've got the Japanese girls with Dakota Kai, and she's like, so they were saying, you know, what did you want us to do? And she kind of like intermediates because she understands, but then again, they can speak English too, but whatever. And then she relays the information back to Bayley, and then it's always like Dakota Kai, the Japanese girls, just walking off, you know, the rest of Damage Control, and Bayley always like, bitch, I founded this faction. I don't know. Something's going to come of it one day. I think it's going to be like the whole Jey Uso thing with the bloodline, me personally, and I'm all for that. Really. Because I do like Bayley. I just don't like her as a heel. Again, when I say I don't like, it's not on a personal level. Unless it's Ryback. Fuck that clown. So that's what that is. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits came out talking about, you know, Karrion Kross and the AOP, taking cheap shots, a cowardly way. You got to do it in front of people. Then what we ended up having was a promo on the screen with Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Paul Ellering, and AOP. And I really liked it. They're now called the Final Testament. I just really enjoy this. I think Karrion Kross is great. Personally, I really do. I think he's great on the mic. His vibe that he gives off, it's very believable. I buy it. I like the name of the group, the Final Testament. You know, you got like the Judgment Day, the Final Testament, all these biblical like things, and then we've got Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. That's why I miss like the Hurt Business with Omos and MVP. That whole thing, it has a name. You gotta have a name. There's no name, but whatever. Paul Ellering, I want to get into really quick with now that I'm on topic with it. That's Paul Ellering, just for some of the newer folks. Even if you're old but you're newer to the world of wrestling, that's Karrion Kross. That's Scarlett, his real life wife. Authors of Pain. I've always liked these guys. I always thought they were good, big brute. You know, they were good. Paul Ellering is this guy. This is an iconic photo when they used to do the whole cloud background thing, just kind of like the high school pictures. And this is the Legion of Doom. But most people know them as the Road Warriors, depending on what promotion they were wrestling for. Okay? But that's Paul Ellering back in the day. So that's who that is, just in case people are like, who's this dude? Because there will be a lot of people that have no, like, oh, wow, it's Paul Ellering. He's 70, great shape. He's having fun. I'm happy to have him around. It's a nostalgic feel. And I just really enjoy the whole thing. I need my notes. I need my notes. Backstage. Pretty deadly chat with Paul Heyman. This was kind of funny because they're all like trying to sell themselves to Paul Heyman that they want to be the third, to join the bloodline, to join Solo and Jimmy. But the problem is, Paul's like, it can only be one of you. So, oh, geez, didn't we have that thing? Then all of a sudden they back out because they don't want to be separated. So they decided to just, forget about it. Vignette promo with Carmelo Hayes. Again, great superstar. Bobby and the Street Profits meet up with Paul Heyman backstage, and Heyman wants Bobby for a third member. That didn't work out because I almost said Bobby Heyman. Maybe I need to go back to bed. I shoveled for 2 hours and 37 minutes yesterday. I'm just saying. Bobby Lashley told Heyman, the only time I want to be in the ring with the bloodline is when I'm face to face with Roman Reigns. Oof. Hayes in Theory. So this was a great match, but there was a Spanish fly move. Is that what it was? Off the top rope. And unfortunately, the whole match got called off again with the ref throwing up the X sign. Really, I'm not even sure who got the worst of it. But that wasn't scripted. As far as I understand, the throwing up of the X is never, ever, ever like faked. That's how you could tell when something's like, what's going on there. It happened with Kofi and, oh man, my mind eludes me. Giovanni. So it happens, unfortunately. Backstage, Jimmy and Solo with Heyman are done looking for a third member. Jimmy is still going on that he's worried, and then Solo's like, I ain't worried. That's not how he really sounds, but. And then Jimmy's like, you know what? If Solo ain't worried, I ain't worried. And I'm like, no, you're worried. Jimmy's character is a lot different since the whole breakup of the bloodline with Jey Uso and all that. Just a little bit different. Jimmy's a little silly. But yeah. So this was nice at the end. There was a lot of chaos and carnage. Roman did not come out. Everybody was on board. AJ thought that LA Knight was trying to screw him over because he got off from the apron to attack Solo. But Orton came out first, by the way, and then Solo hit him from behind with Samoan Spike, took out Orton. AJ Styles came out and he was shaking hands with the fans. He's not all about screw the fans. I know I always put a lot of emphasis in that, but to me, that was a big deal. You could still be pissed off and still be face. Styles thought LA Knight was going to screw him because, yeah, I already talked about that. But it all worked out. They took them all out. And, yeah, they did defeat them. For a moment there, I didn't put the outcome. I didn't know if it ended up being a no contest or whatever. Paul Heyman's look on his face never gets old. Orton took out Jimmy. Solo powerbombed through the table. All in all, I had fun. I really enjoyed myself. Like I said, you could see all these little backstage promos and snippets and whatnot. Mishin with AJ. Again, I can't wait to see with the OC, the Good Brothers, Mishin, just what's going to happen with that whole thing. I really enjoy that faction. And I feel like since they've been brought back to WWE, they just haven't really done much with them. Gallows and Anderson, There's some real contenders, and now that we have AOP, I'm like, I like AOP, but I'm like, put the OC back in. We need some more tag teams so that we can finally separate the Raw tag teams and the SmackDown tag teams. Each brand needs its own tag team. I mean, I do like the whole, like, you can switch. I mean, there's a cool element to that from one show to the next, but I don't know. It is what it is for now. So look at Graves like, oh my God, good thing that's not me. Speaking of injuries, he had, I think, a neck injury, which is why he retired. But Vince and the production team saw something in Graves, and they decided to not cancel him because he was a superstar, kept him on commentary. I know he gets a lot of flack. A lot of flack goes to Colt. They all go to them. Some people don't like JR. Some people don't like the King. Some people didn't like Jesse the Body Ventura or Bobby Heenan or Gorilla Monsoon or any of those guys. I like them all. They're all different except for Kevin Patrick. No offense. It's nothing against him personally. There's just something about how he speaks. For me, I just, I never thought I'd say this, but I like Byron Saxton with Corey Graves. I like Pat McAfee with Michael Cole. I like Corey Graves with Barrett, maybe. There's a few different combinations that are good there, but anyways, that's it for now. Like I said, as always, if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm. Today, I think I'm going to do it. I am going to make a controversial video, and it's going to be about why it is when there is a very, very nasty story, you know, like the plane ride from hell with Ric Flair. Why I give both him and the accuser both equally the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to talk about why it's so simple for me to do that. It's not really fence sitting, but it's also not jumping the gun. But anyways, I'll explain it in probably 15 seconds. The video will probably be a half hour long because I want to go back in time and share some of my own personal stories and, you know, those and just my personality type just in general as to why I give people the benefit of the doubt. Unless it's as clear as day and irrefutable proof is out there, then sure. And if I just don't see it and you see it, then you know what? It's okay. If you see something in a different way than I do, it's really not a big deal. It really isn't. All right, take care, and hopefully I'll see some of you soon. Bye for now.